How goes the family? Welcome back to Larry's Anything Goes. Hopefully you guys are having a great and exceptional day. Today's word of the day is escalation. Stands for an increase in the intensity or seriousness of something and intensification and whatnot. We live in a time where there's an escalation in good old inflation. And we see the cost of living is going up tremendously. We see the cost of like a lot of people. You got a lot of people that have plans of something. You got a lot of people, I see hot girl summer all over the place, but I see a lot of people doing a fallback summer. And the fallback summer is, yeah, I'm cutting down on the expenses because the three things I need to work on increasing is income, savings, and investments. Not vacations and posting nice videos and stuff for Snapchat and the gram and TikTok and Twitch and all these other platforms that are out there. Because winter is coming in the sense of, you have all the economic critics and professionals stating that a recession is not only on the horizon, it's for the most part here from a 50 to 60% standpoint. And the winners to me are the ones that are working on the increasing of income, the increasing of savings, the increasing of assets, and the increasing of access to capital. That's another thing to take into consideration. Do you have access to capital? Can you borrow against your home? Can you borrow against your cryptocurrencies? Can you do you have enough access in regards to credit cards and whatnot? If you own a business, do you have enough business credit cards so you can have more access? It's these things that what is your debt to income ratio? These are the things that, matter. Do you have insurance policy, like a whole life insurance policy that you've been contributing to long enough to where you can actually borrow money from, another vehicle to borrow capital from? These things matter right now. The whole posting for the gram, posting for the social media, trying to show off nonsense. And that's why I got the George Washington filter from the dollar bill aspect, because we are in a time where having more of these things, regardless of what vehicle you get them from, having these things or being able to get access to these things matter the most. People don't realize that the thing that Elon Musk just did with Twitter and whatnot, a lot of that was borrowed money, or most of it was borrowed money. I know that there was money was being borrowed, and money is always borrowed on a regular basis. And rich people borrow money all the time. This is one thing working people always think, that if I had a couple $1,000,000, I'd be straight. Well, you might be quote unquote straight if you know how to manage and save money and live below your means. But what if something bad happens to where you still need a vehicle to be able to access capital that's outside? Because like great example, most lottery winners, they end up losing all their money because they're not good at two things: managing money and growing money. And that's the thing that people don't want to ever, that's the conversation that people don't want to have a lot of times. That's why I always give credit to the platforms that I listen to, from the Black Business School to the 19 Keys, EY Universities, By the Hood University, was it David, Sleepers for Suckers, all these people that I watch, these content creators, these business people, the Black Authority, these, Tariq Nasheed's, Mark Cuban's, the whole panel of Shark Tank, from Damon Johns to Grant Cardone, all the people that are talking about economics, even what's his name, but Dave Ramsey, even though I don't agree with most of the things he says, but when it comes to the money management aspect, I definitely agree with that. But all these individuals, and there's too many people to even freaking name, but all these individuals are talking about people being sensible because there are no more safety nets. Most people most likely are not going to have access to a lot of capital. They're not going to have the best, what is it? They're not going to have the best retirement plans because they're not even putting away enough money from an investment standpoint. They're not saving enough money, and they're not even doing the whole calculating, hey, what am I going to, what job can I even work when I get into my 60s and 70s and whatnot, to where it gives me just a little extra money so that I can play with, or I can save and invest, not because I need to have that job. Because the whole thing is, you want to be able to be productive for as long as possible to where you can't be anymore. But the main thing is, most people don't want to take into consideration that a lot of that a lot of people are going to be hurting in the future because they're not talking about this right now, learning about this right now. A lot of times, I have a conversation with an individual about economics, and they'll look. Sometimes they'll look at me like either I'm acting uppity, or they're like, well, "How do you know this information?" Well, it's two crazy things. One, I read, and two, I listen to. Well, three things. Two, I listen to podcasts religiously, so I don't even know what's happening politically from a sports aspect, from even an entertainment aspect. I don't know most. There's so many good new shows out and about, and new movies out and about nowadays, but I couldn't tell you. I don't know anything about it because it doesn't do anything for my life. I used to binge watch from your Breaking Bads to Oz to The Shield to The Sopranos to The Wire, all that stuff. I used to binge watch television shows like that all the time, but that's back when I didn't know what my passion was and in perspective and things of that nature. In regards to the importance of not only just making money and saving money, but how to invest money, make your money grow and whatnot, and how to get tax write-offs by owning a business and things of that nature. I was not particularly aware of how the importance of it. I wish I had more importance, knew the importance of it 15 years ago compared to now, because my life economically would be much more different now, especially if I was around, if you had EWAL University, Fatherhood University, during that time frame where people were having these conversations. Most people I was surrounded by, they were just talking about how they could milk the system, or they were bragging about how much money they had or they were making and whatnot, and the nice houses and cars they had, but the conversations never revolved around how to invest money in the stock market from a for increasing assets portfolio. It was never from, hey, let me buy a specific amount of real estate so I can increase my income. It was never in regards to, oh, you can save taxes by owning a lot of real estate and by owning a business. It was never from, hey, if you have this specific insurance policy, you can borrow money against it. Those are the conversations I needed to have. Because and those were the kind of mentorships I needed to be around 10, 15 years ago. Better late than never, but that's why I said it's like I don't like to waste a lot of time on worrying about entertainment and always having fun and whatnot. It's easy to have fun, it's easier to be entertained, but it's much more harder to think critically and to engage with intelligent people that like to think outside the box. Let's put it like that. But this word of the day has turned into a rant, but it is what it is. All right, so let's end this video off on, I guess I'm being real patriotic today, by Thomas Jefferson, third president of the United States and author of the Declaration of Independence. He said, "It is neither wealth nor splendor, but tranquility and occupation which gives you happiness." And I will read that again. "It is neither wealth nor splendor, but tranquility and occupation which gives you happiness." Now, I could not agree with that statement more, but the thing is, a lot of times when you have, a lot of wealth can bring tranquility to your life because then you give you more options. The occupation in itself, it can bring you happiness because a lot of times there's so many jobs out there. This is another thing that I don't think I talk about enough, but I know it's talked about enough on social media platforms. There are a lot of jobs out there that people would love to do, but that they're very passionate about, but because they would not be able to have a decent living, or especially if you have a family, they wouldn't be able to take care of their family financially. That's why they don't do the jobs. Like a lot of people great example, they love working with their hands. And they would like to be able to do that without having to worry about the pay, or, be able to be their own general contractor so they can select the jobs that they want and not have to work under anyone else's rules and regulations in regards to working on specific crews. Another thing, a lot of people love teaching. A lot of people love kids. A lot of people want to operate a daycare or work at a daycare. A lot of people want to own a studio, a dance studio, or teach karate, teach sports, coaching. People love to coach children and whatnot, all sports, forms of dance, things of that nature. And, or people love making podcasts, like making content, like myself and whatnot. But because a lot of times, 9 times out of 10, there's not a lot of money or there's no money involved in it. A lot of people don't put as much time into it, or they don't put any time into it, or they can't do it full time like they would like to, because like the old saying goes, when you work do something that you're passionate about, you don't work a day in your life. And when you're able to do something that you're passionate about and not have to worry about money, that just makes it even 10 times better. Because then to me, you're going to be more effective at your job or whatever job work that you're doing. You're going to be effective. I won't say job. You'll be more effective at the work that you do in your life because you're doing work that matters to you. And that's the thing. That's how I look at it. Because a lot of times people think that I'm like, oh, well, having a job is terrible. No, I think the most terrible thing is when you get into your 30s and up, and you have a job out of necessity, not out of want, and you're living in the area out of necessity because of your job. You're not living in the area because you're passionate about living in that area. I think that's the saddest thing. I'm from the DMV area, and most people that live in the DMV areas because they can only make a decent living in the field that they work in because of the economy that is there. Them, the idea of them moving elsewhere, they always worried about, losing money, or not getting paid enough, not having the right job security. And I think that's very sad because they're not living their best life to their passion or whatnot. They're living their life based on their job and then based on their income. They're not living life based on what they really want to do with their lives. And then some people are, but a lot of people aren't. That's my biggest problem. That's my biggest pet peeve. Because that's why you have a population in the DMV area that look very miserable. They're not excited. They're totally disengaged outside of trying to be decent at their job. And even at their job, they're not as engaged as they should be because they're not passionate about what they do. And then the end, when you're surrounded by people it's like Nipsey Hussle always says, if you're surrounded by people that aren't motivating you, then in a sense, you are in a cage. Hence, you are in a prison because to be surrounded by people that doesn't keep you enthused and whatnot. Like I can't rock with people that I can't learn from, and that don't have any forward thinking and whatnot, and don't have implementation with their enthusiasm and forward thinking. Because a lot of times, for some odd reason, people that want to talk about things that happened 10 years ago, or people that want to talk about basic stuff, they always want to surround me. And I don't know why. There must be something about my face when you actually see my face, because now I'm imitating George Washington. But there must be something, let me know in the chat. Do you have an aura about you where you're like, why do I always attract such losers, or why do I attract such people that are not on the same wavelength? Because when you get up in age, to me, you're supposed to be around people that excite you and that are on the path that you're on and whatnot. You're not supposed to be around people just because they're, don't mean you got to cut everybody off, but you're supposed to be around people to help you grow. Life is like an old friend of mine said, if you don't evolve past high school, well, let's think about it. And because to me, this is true. It's a very true statement, but let's think about it before I end this video off. The quote unquote cool kids hung out with each other in high school because they had things in common. The quote unquote geeks hung out with each other because they had something in common. The jocks, the sports people, they hung out with each other because they had, they were on a football team, basketball team, baseball team, softball team, whatever. So they had something in common. You hang out with what you have in common with. Now me, I've always been that kind of person that I can be around darn near anybody because of where I grew up and how I grew up and whatnot. And I could relate to more people in high school. But as an adult, I'm more on the, hey, what can I learn from an economic standpoint, from a historical standpoint, from a cultural standpoint? If you're not really on that tip, I don't want to binge watch shows and talk about video games all day. That's not my style. If that's what you're into, that's cool, but that's not what I'm into. I don't want to talk about what happened 15 years ago if the conversation is not elevating, because as Damon Dash always says, it's a waste of real estate in my brain. It's a waste of space in my brain. My brain is real estate, and I want to plant good seeds in my brain. I don't want to constantly just, spout off about stuff that doesn't matter and whatnot. Too many people get caught up or get comfortable with basic subject matters, and you can't evolve. That's why listening to podcasts and reading is fundamental, because if you're not evolving yourself, I put a post on Facebook yesterday saying, if it doesn't evolve me, then it shouldn't involve me. And I think everybody should have that principle. You want to elevate yourself. That's not even just about money and whatnot, just mentally. And you got to be willing to, and I said this last night, be willing to shut up and listen to the information, and don't be quick to say, no, that's not for me. Because that's when the person like me is going to be like, all right, that's cool. It ain't that serious. Just like I've had mentors to me. I was guilty of this. They was like, okay, well, Larry, you don't want to get the game. I got things to do. So have a nice life. Vaya con Dios in Spanish. It means go with God. So anyways, on that note, family, do the great 3 free things: like, share, and subscribe. Hopefully you guys have a great day. If you're a stock investor, crypto investor, bond investor, want to even be able to buy NFTs and whatnot, sign up with crypto.com, sign up with WEBULL, sign up with Stash, Acorn, not Cash App, but Coinbase. You have the opportunity to buy all those specific vehicles, and specifically with crypto.com, you'll be able to buy stock. You'll be able to buy Bitcoins, various different cryptocurrencies, and NFTs if you want to. Also with WEBULL, you get up to $900 worth of free stock once you put a penny in your account. And with Acorns, the beautiful thing with them is you get the opportunity to not only buy stocks, bonds, cryptocurrencies, and be able to have an individual retirement account known as Acorn Later, but you'll be able to, if you want to, as an option, to connect your debit card to your Acorn account, and every time you spend $10.50, they round it up to $11, and then that extra money will get invested into the stock market. It's just a beautiful way to make money move so you don't live broke like a fool. All right. So on that note, family, do the great 3 free things: like, share, and subscribe. Don't forget to like my pages and all that good stuff. And also do not forget to check out the online Shopify store. Support your local businesses. I greatly appreciate it. And hopefully you guys have a great and exceptional day. Appreciate that, family. Stop. Always appreciate the love. Thank you. You're too kind. Thank you. Take care, family.